So problem 16 from our review. Yeah, and I know it's problem 16 because I numbered it 16. You can see right there. But don't let that 43 throw you off. Problem 16 from my ACP review talks about two functions which are given below. Here's p of x is 5/8x minus 3 over 11, and q of x equal to 8/5 x minus 311. What we want to do is look at that graph because it says how does the graph of p compare with the graph of q. All right, that's what we want to know. Then we go to a different presentation. So again, here are the two functions. Look at p of x, look at q of x, and we want to know how does the graph of p compare with the graph of q. Let's check A out. Does the graph of p have a different y-intercept than the graph of q? Let's grab both of these using Inspire. So let's go to TI Inspire. If you wonder how I got to this screen, that's if I can move my record bar over a little bit. I pressed home and I went to a brand new document, and then I don't want to save anything, and then I went to graphs. Okay, so the first graph, if I can just pull it up right quick, was p of x equals to 5/8 x minus 311. So let's put that into Inspire. So control divide for my fraction, and I believe it was 5/8 of x minus 3. Oh, I want to make that a fraction too. Don't necessarily have to, I just think it looks better. 3 over 11. And let's press enter, see what that looks like. Okay, so that's the graph of p of x. All right, which is f1 of x in Inspire. I'll make that my f1 of x. It's nice that they're different colors too. All right, so let's look at the other graph. Okay, let's go ahead into the second graph, and let's see to get let's press tab to get that line back, and this time we'll put in see, let me go back up here. Let's get another fraction. And I believe our graph was, this time it was, let's see, it was 8 over 5 x, okay, minus control divide, well, yeah, control divide, and then 3 over 11, okay, all right, and so I press enter, and now we have our two graphs, okay. This is q of x. This is p of x. Okay. All right. Look at q of x in the red. Look at p of x in the blue. So let's see. Let's check out these answers there. Okay. So the first thing we're going to look at: does the graph of p have a different y-intercept than the graph of q? So let's look. See, I'm missing here. All right. If I go back and look at the graphs. This is P, this is Q. Where do they hit the y-intercept? Why they hit the y-axis? Look at the y-intercept for both of those. It actually looks like they have exactly the same y-intercept. Now, in fact, they do. Here's the y-intercept for P is a negative 3/11, and the y-intercept for Q is also a negative 3/11. So actually, the y-intercepts are the same. Matter of fact, I can even show you that if let's put a point on a graph, and this is just so that you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take this point and let's drag it, and look what happens when I get to the y-intercept. They both have the same y-intercept. Okay, that's the y-intercept. And if you look at 3/11, 3/11 is actually the same as negative 0.273 anyway. So they have the same, I can move this out the way actually. They actually have the same intercept. Matter of fact, if I zoom in, let's do a zoom box, and we'll make it even more obvious that they have the same y-intercept. And as you can see, as I zoom in closer and closer, you'll see that they actually cross at the same spot, just in case you couldn't tell from the graph or from the equation. But okay, Either way, you see that's the case. They have the same y-intercept. Okay, I really belabored that point, didn't I? Okay, well, let's see. Let's go. I'll reset my window back the way it was. So let's just go to menu, zoom, standard. That's where we were in the beginning. Let's move all this over. Okay, there's P and there's Q again. All right, so they have the same. The next thing we want to check out is the graph of P is steeper than the graph of Q. Let's look at the graph of P. All right, the graph of P. Look at the graph of P. No, this is P and steeper. Which one is steeper, P or Q? No, I think Q is actually steeper than P. As it's kind of obvious there. Again, this is Q, and just so that you could tell, let me let's see. It'd be nice if I go ahead and label these. Put a secondary label here. Oops, I didn't want any of that. So let me escape. All right, and let's get my text tool again. Text. Let's put a P here, and we'll put a Q here. Where is my text? And let's put a Q here. All right. So again, Q is blue and P is yeah. All right. So that's what I want to see. So we can see here Q is actually steeper than P. Now I wonder if that's one of the selections. Let's look and see. Actually, the graph of P is less steep than the graph of Q. Yeah, that says that Q is steeper than P. All right. So actually, that appears to be true. And we know that the graph of P is not steeper than the graph of Q. And are they parallel? Well, they're certainly not parallel. We also know that if they were parallel, the slopes would be the same. And as we can see, the slope of P is 5/8, and the slope of Q is 8/11. So we definitely don't have the same slope. Looks like I have a little issue here. Looks like I typed it wrong here. This should be, I am making so many mistakes in these little videos. Okay. All right. That's better. But I got it right on the right screen. I didn't make any mistakes here. Okay. So here, the only Q conclusion is that the graph of P is less steep than and it looks like I need another text, the graph of Q. Right, that's what we know for sure. Okay, and since that's the case, and it looks like did I just lose that? Okay, well, my control undo will take care of that. Well, maybe not. Let me try control redo. And control redo. Okay, well, maybe I just moved it somewhere. But anyway, I think you get the point. The graph of P is less steep than, well, I am batting 1,000 a day. So the graph of P is less steep than, let me continue my text entry here. It'd be better if I just did the calculator part on this. And the graph of Q. All right. And since that is true, since we've come to that conclusion, then let's look at our test question again. And the graph of P is steeper than the graph of Q. No, the graph of P is less steep than the graph of Q. So this is what we want. Let's move all these guys out the way. And let's let that be the answer that we will select for that question.